In this video, I'm going to show you how and why wire location is so important. We'll cover both the inside jamb and the outside jamb brackets. The inside jamb mount brackets typically are always going to be 1 1/4 down and 1 1/4 out from the window side. That's going to be a place where we won't need any hardware and the bracket will cover it completely. The floating jamb mount is a little more difficult, but the wire will always be 5/8 of an inch from either the top or the bottom of the hanger bolt. All jobs are going to be a little bit different. We'll go over some of the variables, but just make sure that you and your builder are on the same page when trim out is complete. When determining the wire location on an inside jamb mount, typically we just do 1 1/4 down and then 1 1/4 out from the actual mullion or mount. And I know it seems rough, but wire location is not necessarily the end of the day for an inside jamb mount. Now the reason for this, and I can show you real quick with my template, is the bracket is going to mount here and here. We all know this is 1 3/4. This is one of the most important numbers of the J Geiger bracket. So if the bracket was there and there, that wire is now coming out in the preferred location, which is the top back corner. So for most of our motors, we either are going to come out of this hole and go directly into the back of the motor, or for the Somfy motors, we're going to come out above the bracket and go directly into the head of the motor. We want to be in the back because we don't want to see any wires or screws. After determining the wire location with your electrician or the builder, tell them to go ahead and make that the location using a 5/16 bit for all the windows in the house. Determining the wire location for the outside jamb mount is a little more difficult just because you only have 1/4 of an inch of tolerance inside the bracket. Also, when determining the wire location, you also have to do the overall location of where this bracket's actually going to sit. In this particular design, the designer said that they would like to have the bracket be in the center of this jamb extension. So it's going to sit somewhere like this. And then they also said that they wanted to be the same distance above this here, which would allow for our hem bar just to ride that line perfectly, which is roughly 1 inch up from the bottom here to the bottom of our bracket. So that's what we're going to go for. So that I'm not dragging my ruler across the finished trim, I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on, and I'm going to try and locate the size of this jamb. This jamb is exactly 1.5 inches wide, so I'm going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch, and I just need to carry that mark vertically. But I'll need either a laser or a level to do so. With my torpedo level, I carry this line that's halfway in between the jamb, all the way up to where the mounting surface is going to be. Once again, only drawing on the tape. I really don't want to ruin this homeowner's nice finished paint. And then we decided that we wanted to have just the hem bar sticking out. So if you want just the hem bar sticking out to the very bottom of this jamb here, or I guess it would be the top of the jamb, it would be one inch from the top. And that will allow for your hem bar to run like this. And then the base of the bracket will be here. Once you've determined where the base of the bracket goes, you can use your template and see that we've outlined the base of the bracket is here. So the center of the bracket would be here. The bracket itself is 2 3/8, so the center would be 1 3/16 away. Putting the wire in place now is either going to be the top or the bottom hole. The top hole would be used if you were bringing the wire from the ceiling, and the bottom hole would be used if you were bringing the wire from the floor. The reason for that is when you put your hanger bolt in the center, you don't want to impede the wire. Just a few things to keep in mind when doing an outside jamb mount installation. Make sure that you're not too far out on the trim where your screws might actually blow out the side of the trim. You also want to make sure that when you hang this up, you want to be far enough away from the window so that light's not shining or peering through the light gap. You also want to make sure that as your fabric is falling, that it is not going to be obstructed by any hardware, door handles, or anything of that nature.